In the 1960s, General Motors knew it had grabbed an auto enthusiast segment by the throat when its engineers secretly dropped big horsepower engines into family sedans and began racing them against other engineers from other Detroit automakers. It was here that the case for the slogan, "No replacement for cubic displacement," came to pass, along Detroit's fabled Woodward Avenue, where the muscle car earned its racing stripes. In the automotive version of the Circle of Life, the muscle car era is enjoying a kind of rebirth, especially from General Motors, and particularly with the resurrection of the fabled Pontiac GTO. You know, if the soul of this car is from Australia, its heart is from America. This is an LS1 Corvette engine, but it's now in the Pontiac GTO. It's got GTO valve covers, and it also says LS1 right here. That's a great thing. Even though the people at Chevrolet are protective of their motors, I'm glad that the folks who are higher up within General Motors said this car has to have this motor. It drives superbly. It's got a great torque line, and it just goes. It's fantastic. The question, of course, is whether a high-performance car from Australia that has no historical connection whatsoever to the American muscle car era should even wear the vaunted GTO crown. For those who need reminding, the 1960s GTO was a beast that did wonders on the street, so long as that street was straight and long. But ask it to stop, or try to coax it around a corner, and to say that wasn't its forte is a massive understatement, which makes this new car even more intriguing. Now GM brings us the 2004 Pontiac GTO, a car with more power than the original. For you numbers junkies, the new GOAT has 350 horsepower versus 348 in the old Tri-Power model. And while the older mid-60s GTO could go from a standstill to 60 in 6.6 seconds, this new version gets the job done a second and a half quicker. The Pontiac GTO is now a wonderful halo car. Okay, the bad thing? Exterior. It's bland, and no matter what you do, it's still bland. We slammed Pontiac in the 80s for all of the body cladding that they put on the cars. That's no longer there, which is a great thing that it's no longer there. But they got to be able to do something else with the exterior to tar it up. That's the only problem with this car. Okay, so it's not a completely bland vanilla wafer in terms of style, but it is kind of plain Jane. And in order to try to dress it up, General Motors and Pontiac designers did put a rocker panel, did give it a rear spoiler, and it does have the kidney-shaped grille. Thank goodness they didn't go along with what they had been talking about earlier, which was a sticker for a hood scoop. Shades of Screaming Chicken Pontiac Firebirds. General Motors, please do something to make it look better. If the exterior is bland, the interior is merely spectacular. General Motors has had the epiphany, and owners of cars spend all of their time, or 95% of their time, inside the car. So what does it do? It makes sense to invest on the interior appointments, and they've done it. The gauge cluster is easy, it's simple. The attention to detail is fantastic. What do I mean by that? Take a look at the stitching on the steering wheel. It's gorgeous. You'll also find that color-coded stitching in the seats. That's a kind of a level of attention that General Motors never dealt with. Take a look at the gapping, even on the plastic parts that are gone into it. Their seams are very straight and alike. Great space for 4 people. It's a great car for maybe a young couple that really likes to have fun. Now, in terms of ride and handling, this thing is a sweetheart. You throw it into a corner and it stays there. It's just really taut. To be able to say that about a GTO has almost been apocryphal. What are you supposed to think about this new GTO? For those with stars in their eyes, for those of you who yearn for what was the seminal muscle car, forget about it. This car ain't it. This GTO is a redefinition of performance. It rides well, It handles the twisties superbly. Its interior is well appointed and attractive. It's an all-around great car. And if we might say, it is a delightful surprise from GM that they can build a high-performance rear-wheel drive sedan that will perform with the competition's finest. So if you just gotta have the GTO of 40 years ago, you better start looking on eBay or a used car lot. But if you want what is a better GTO for the street and track, it's available in showrooms today. For Autoweek, I'm Dutch Mandel.